morning. Welcome everybody to City Council meetings. We appreciate you being here on February 23rd. Thank you for your attendance, and hopefully we'll pray for a little bit more rain. It's been wonderful to have this beautiful rain. We will begin with an invocation and go to Pledge of Allegiance. Reverend Reginald Fox with Jesus Way Church. You'll come forward here. And everybody, please rise.
Reverend, thank you. Can I speak right here?
Yes, thank you.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I'm glad to be here. I'm from Jesus Way. And will everybody bow their heads and pray for me? Almighty God, if my people, that which are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven and I will heal their land and forgive them for their sins. Thank you in Jesus Christ's name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Reverend, have a good day. Thank you for being here. Okay, we have some presentations today. We're going to have a presentation of appreciation to the mayor and city council from the Midland Affordable Housing Alliance. One or two council members want to come on the court. How you doing? Good morning. How you doing?
Oh, then that wastes the video.
So go ahead and get started. Members start online. City Ordinance 9274 starts off by saying, whereas certain credit access businesses, commonly known as cash advance lenders, payday lenders, and auto title lenders, engage in abusive and predatory lending practices, offering easy money and onerous terms and fees to those members of our community who are experiencing financial hardships. You know, those members of our community who experience financial hardships often don't feel comfortable coming to meetings like this and feel comfortable speaking at city council meetings. So when I heard, Mayor, when I heard you speaking at the Midland Chamber of Commerce's State of the Economy about the successes we've had in curbing payday lending here at the city, thanks to your efforts and those of city council, I personally, one more time, was very proud to be a Midlander, to know how we're looking after those who are a little bit less fortunate than ourselves.
Thank you. Linda?
So, on behalf of MAHA, Midland Affordable Housing Alliance, we'd like to recognize the City Council for your efforts in curbing payday lending. Your passing of ordinance 9742 really helped curb predatory lending. And we want to say thank you for all you do, not just in our arena, but for our entire community. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Can we get you together for a photo?
Squeeze on in there.
Well, thank you very much. Let me also just say, I want to recognize our legal staff, John Oldemiller, who also was very instrumental in helping us get this passed and helping us to understand. Thank you, Chip Austin. I do feel like, speaking of council, that we really felt we were doing something good for our community that you just stated, and it was an industry that was getting out of hand in Midland, and I think now we have a little bit of control of this, and we appreciate your support. So thank you very much for that. Thank you. Thanks for being here. Thank you. Good to see you. Thank you very much. Thank you. That's great. That's wonderful.
Very good. You're going to enjoy that too. The next presentation will be a proclamation for the Museum of the Southwest Day. Councilwoman Charlotte Hoskins will present.
Is there anyone here from the Museum of the Southwest?
Thank you for being here.
I'm really pleased to present this proclamation to you today on behalf of our mayor. Whereas the Museum of the Southwest opened to the public in 1966, relocated to the historic Turner Museum in 1968, and is celebrating its golden anniversary in 2016. And whereas the Museum of the Southwest has continued to be one of Midland's most important cultural organizations for the past 5 decades, and it continues to grow and change as it serves Midland and the communities of West Texas, adding the Miriam Wheel and William Blanton Blakemore Planetarium to its campus in 1972, which was renovated in 2009. The Lissa Noel Wagner Wing in 1987, and the Fred Turner Durham Children's Museum in 1989, which is supposed to be reconstructed. And whereas the Museum of the Southwest will celebrate its 50th anniversary with the reopening of the Juliet and Fred Turner Jr. Memorial Art Museum after major renovation and restoration. And whereas the Museum of the Southwest for 50 years inspires discovery, interaction, and exploration of art, science, culture, and history, enriching the lives of people of all ages. Now, with Jerry's support, the mayor of the city of Midland, Texas, do hereby proclaim Sunday, March 30, 2016, the 50th anniversary of the opening of the first exhibition at the Museum of the Southwest, the Museum of the Southwest Day. And I therefore present this for the city of Midland to call upon all citizens of Midland to join the Museum of the Southwest in celebrating this 50th anniversary. And it is signed by your mayor, Jerry M. Morales.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilwoman, and thank you, Museum of Southwest, for what you do. We appreciate you. Next, we'd like to recognize the Police Department for receiving their certificate of advanced meritorious accreditation from the Commission on Accreditation for Law Enforcement Agencies. I think we have the chief. Any other officers? Police, like to come up? Come on, Chief Guard, let's go.
All the deputy chiefs, come on.
Let me tell you something.
All of us, please.
The hardest job besides soldier is police officer. And our officers do a wonderful, wonderful job. And I asked the mayor to be able to present this. I even wore my old City of Midland police and yeah, give me one. So I am happy to present this award to the police department. It is from Kayla, and please tell me what Kayla is.
It's Cleat.
Kalia, I'm sorry.
Cleat.
What this is from is CALEA is an acronym for Commission on Accreditation for Law Enforcement Agencies. It began, I think, back in the 80s, 1979, by several top law enforcement organizations in the country, like Police Executive Research Forum, International Association of Chiefs of Police, National Sheriff's Association, and the National Organization of Black Law Enforcement Officials, to bring a national accrediting body and standard together for law enforcement agencies to meet. And this is a voluntary process that the Midland Police Department has been going through since 1993. We're one of the, I believe, the longest, or one of the longest accredited agencies in the nation, and there are probably less than 1% of law enforcement agencies get accredited. We have about 480 standards that we have to meet. I'll say an inspection, that's an easy term where CALEA sends assessors in once every 3 years. They go through your department head to toe. They not only look at what you do, but how you do it. And it's easy to write it on paper, but they want to see how you do it. We just went through our assessment for the 7th time in July and got this award at our national conference in November. So it's a good testament. Casey LeDuc is our accreditation manager. Several of our deputy chiefs are here, Deputy Chief Harmon, Gar, and Compton. This is a great reflection on the department, but mainly City Council. Thank y'all for your support and the citizens of Midland. You know, we're your department. We work for you, and this is a good reflection of your police department. Here's Randy Scott. He's our program manager from CALEA. He's from Oklahoma City, and he kind of coordinates accredited agencies in Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana, Oklahoma, and New Mexico. So on behalf of the agency, I'll ask Randy just to say a few words.
I'll tell you, CALEA, he's kind of put a little light on it that this is their 7th time. This is actually Midland, Texas, 8th award. He said approximately 1%, there's approximately 25% of policemen, not agencies, within the country that are accredited from an accredited agency. And it's voluntary, so the agency has to put themselves forward to this. It's not something that's mandated to them. It can't be. It's something that they put themselves through the test. It's not a very easy process whatsoever. He said they came in town to get interviews, but I promise you, Casey was stressed the whole time, and so was the chief, because I saw him at the award ceremony. We've had several conversations. It's a stressful situation to put an agency through. So on behalf of CALEA, the 8th award, that means 22 years this agency has been accredited. But 3 years prior to that was when they first started the process. So it took them the first 3 years just to get everything together to get that award. So that's a huge accomplishment. From CALEA, I thank you for being an accredited agency and for doing such a job. And for what these citizens get from you, I know just from the review of your standards, it's a very credit to this community to have this type of an agency. So, and that will
CALEA is the gold standard in public safety, and it says, be it hereby known that the Midland, Texas Police Department, having fully demonstrated its voluntary commitment to law enforcement excellence by living up to a body of standards deemed essential to the protection of the life, health, and safety and rights of the citizens it serves, and having exemplified the best professional practices in the conduct of its responsibilities for over 15 years, is hereby, upon the recommendation of the members of the Commission, awarded this Certificate of Advancement Meritorious Accreditation, effective on the 20th day of November 2015, and is recognized as an accredited law enforcement agency for a period of 4 years. This is again the 8th award.
Congratulations on police department. Chief, please let the whole police department know of our appreciation for their hard work and dedication. Thank you. Okay, this is the public comment period. Individuals that may address the City Council on city-related issue and projects in the deliberation of or decision by the City Council regarding the item being discussed shall be limited to a motion to place the item on the agenda for a subsequent meeting. Please limit comments to 3 minutes or less. If you're wishing to speak to the City Council, please come forward and state your name and address. Good morning, Nelson. How you doing?
Good morning, Mayor. And thank you for acknowledging Father God for the rain that we received today. Mayor and members of the City Council, thank you for allowing me to appear before you today. Of course, my name is Nelson Sevier. I live at 7010 County Court here in Midland, Texas. I come to you and challenge you on your reasoning on spending $39 million, that's an average in here, on a new Midland city. If you bear with me, I want to tell you a story I remember about the priest who gave the same sermon 5 Sundays in a row. Finally, some of his parishioners spoke up and said something to him, and on the sixth Sunday, he started the sermon by stating this. I understand that some of you are upset that I've given the same sermon 5 Sundays in a row. There were a few amens from the congregation. The priest continued. He said, I hesitate to give y'all any new material until you finish chewing on what I've already given you to eat. With that said, I once again point out that many of us have been urging our elected officials, including our city council, to pay down government debt, especially in the years that the income has been growing and going. Indeed, most of you ran on fiscal conservatism and transparency. As we've discussed before, and I've mentioned to you before, our current debt here in Midland is about $138 million. And I've pointed out before to y'all that of all the Texas communities, currently we're 44th out of 1,216 in overall debt. If you add $39 million, and that's just one of the figures, there's several debts that y'all can choose with Midland Center. Our debt goes from 44th to 29th. And this is my source, is for the state comptroller, uses their information as of then. And that brings our debt up to $177 million. That debt equals per person within Midland about $1,380. That is a 28% per person debt increase. This is for a project that will not generate actual income that would offset what the actual cost for that project is. And then y'all are also talking about another $33 million that y'all had previously adapted in certificates of obligation. If we add more debt to our city, we not only risk a higher interest rate, but we saddle our grandchildren with debts for assets they can no longer enjoy. And I figure this new asset would have about a 30-year lifespan. As a reminder, and some of y'all may not remember this, in 2007, I was a part of an ad hoc committee that reviewed the need for a new Midland Center. And I pointed out 2 things at that time. That plan, one of the plans that they had under consideration, involved the use of eminent domain. And so the expansion of the Midland Center, I don't know if that is a possibility under this current plan, but I would be very upset if there was going to be any requirement for any eminent domain would be necessary to relocate existing property or businesses. And as I pointed out then, it would be roughly estimating that if there was a 30-year lifespan, I just did a quick calculation, $39 million divided by 30 years, that's about $1.3 million. Now, roughly speaking, that would be requiring about then I pointed out that was 18,000 visitors a year. So I appreciate it if y'all would not go forward with this.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Public comment is still open. If you wish to speak. Okay, we'll close the public comment period. We have consent agenda item 5 through 26, council. 18 through 21. Everybody approach now or 11.
17, 18 and 26.
Okay, so 11, 17, 18 through 21, 26. Is that it? All right. Okay, we have a motion. Second, any other discussion? Let's vote, please.
Oh, yes, I'm good.
Okay, let's vote.
Sorry.
The motion carries 6-1.
Item number 11, consider a resolution.
Mr. Mayor, hold on just a second. 6 to 1. Are you, I saw your consternation, Mr. Lacy.
I did not vote no, I voted yes.
That's why I said point of order.
Good catch.
I will change that in the system.
Yeah. Sorry.
I don't like it. We're just voting no today, okay?
Say Ross Lacy, anti-everything.
Item 11, consider a resolution authorizing the execution of a professional service agreement with HAP Associates Incorporated of Austin, Texas for professional architectural and engineering services for the Hogan Park Hike and Bike Trail as part of the Hike and Bike Trail Plan Development Project at a cost of $189,930.
And I'm sorry, I didn't get a hold of y'all. y'all gonna have to have the ability to put that trail map up on the screen. No, okay. Well, but what we're voting on, yeah, I saw that. Anyway, this is gonna go around the, golf course up Fairgrounds Road. So part of this was what was redesigned on that Fairgrounds Road project.
That's not included in what we have here. This is just 3 lanes, but that would be the 4th lane, is the fairground road.
Okay. And then, where's some of the other places that it goes around the golf course, but it's just, but there were several legs in it.
Well, it completely encircles Hogan Park and including the golf course and along fairground. So there's a large loop, and then there's several interior trails to Hogan Trail, or Hogan Park.
Okay. So this goes around the park also, not just the golf course?
It's the entire park and the golf course.
Oh, I know, that's right.
Yeah, I see, okay, sort of. It's pretty small deal, but, okay, well, that's good. And this is just for the design of it.
Yes.
And after we get the design, we will, what's the next?
Well, this trail was recommended as the alternate to the Air Park Trail, the Parks and Recreation Commission recommended. And because of unforeseen obstacles that we kept coming up against with the Air Park Trail, the Parks Commission encouraged us here to speak to that to couple of the Air Park Trail was shelved, and they asked if the Parks Commission recommended that we move over to Hogan and create the same type of trail that was initially anticipated with a trail that encircles the park, meaning more than 5 miles, that has very few driveway crossings. So this is in replacement of the Air Park Trail. And the commission hopes to go out and raise funds for this trail once the design is complete.
Okay.
How close does this trail come to the golf course? What's the closest?
Pretty close.
I know.
In that right-of-way area there that's between the
Down
golf
Wadley
course.
and down Fairgrounds.
So just don't hook your golf ball.
Well, yeah, that was the question. I mean, are there any? Did we run this by the golf course? They're on board with everything, of course. And did we run this by the golf course? Run this by Greg?
Yes, we talked about it.
Okay, this is okay.
And that lake was designed with engineering of that roadway.
Since we got mostly slicers in here.
Yeah.
Well, it's
If you use it, just be sure to wear a helmet in case you don't want to get a golf ball.
It really is kind of a concern.
Any other questions for
Don't worry
Lord
about the
staff?
I'd like to ask Charlie Spence to come forward. If you'd give your take on it, Charlie. Parks Commission.
Why don't you, Charlie, you just give us your name and address, please?
Charlie Spence, 3702 Oak Ridge Court. I've been on the Parks and Rec for a long, long time. I'm an old guy. And if I continue to be an old guy, I'm beginning to wonder if we're going to see hiking back trail my lifetime. I think I worked on the Air Park Trail for, I think, 4 years. And quite frankly, there's a lot of challenges there. We'd still like to take another look at that down the road, but we'd really like to see something built. And so after discussion at the Parks and Rec Commission, we concluded that our best bet to get something started, was to move it to the Hogan Park Trail. So that's our recommendation.
Yeah, you could do it. You're right there.
Thank you. And I'll comment to the comprehensive master plan. We had many group meetings, and this came up over and over and over again. The public really wants a good hike and bike trail. So thank y'all for bringing this to us.
Thank you, Charlie. We have a motion, second. Do we have any other discussion? Let's vote, please.
The motion carries unanimously.
Item 17, consider a motion authorizing the city manager for the executive to advertise a request for proposals in accordance with state law for the installation of fiber optic cable connecting the new municipal court building to the city's Midland data center at the Range Street Center, and thereby to the city's existing wide area network.
Yeah, I just wanted to know, what are we talking about here?
We have an RFP that we've written, that we're asking that the city manager be allowed to release. The RFP is for either laying or stringing of fiber optic between the Range Center, which is the police station, and the new municipal court building.
Okay, fiber optic from here to,
No, from the data center, which is at Lorraine,
Okay.
which is at the police station, to the new municipal court building.
and an RFP being request for
Request for proposal, I'm sorry, request for proposal, is asking someone to bid on it to do the project.
So we're just asking for bids.
Yes, sir.
It said in the request that it's either above ground or below ground, and so I'm assuming that you're gonna leave that up to whatever they submit the RFPs, but does the city have a preference? Because it seems like to me that below ground makes a lot more sense. So why are we even giving in the option for above ground?
Because I learned a new word today, it's called caliche. And caliche can make the below ground more expensive than we can afford. So we're going to look at, yes, we definitely prefer below ground, but the boring is very expensive. And we had some experience with boring in Midland, and it makes the cost a lot more. So we're going to have them propose what they think is the best alternatives. And then from there, we will see what we can afford.
When you look into that, you might want to consider what type of future maintenance costs you would have on the above ground. To take that into consideration, because that initial cost of boring might be a bargain compared to what we would spend over time.
Might be, but I've had a lot of problems with underground fiber optic.
That's why I said to look at it.
So I'm assuming it's a conduit put in.
Oh, yes, sir.
And so would it allow us to put other future?
The RFP specs quote 3-inch conduit, so there would be emergency.
So we might save money down the road or something
We
else.
wanted to do something else, we could do that.
Very good. Any other questions?
Gotta make it gopher proof.
All right. We have a motion. Second. Any other discussion? Great. Thank you. Let's vote.
The motion carries unanimously.
Mr. Mayor, I'll abstain for the next 4 items.
Yes, sir. 19, consider resolution.
18.
18.
Hold on, that's a lot. Sorry.
18, consider resolution approving the issuance of a permit to Callum Petroleum Operating Company, operate to drill an oil and gas well within the city limits located 280 feet from the north line and 335 feet from the east line, section 22, block 40T-1-S, TMP Railroad Company, Survey, City and County of Midland, Texas, generally located on the south side of the west extension of Mockingbird Lane, West County Road 50, approximately 1 mile north of Briarwood Avenue, and providing that said permit does not require a new road repair agreement, but shall be consolidated under an existing road repair agreement.
Mr. Mayor, can we do these next ones that are all the oil and gas ones at the same time?
John, I can handle that.
Ms. Turner, parliamentarian, do you have an issue with that? I do not.
I don't, I'll need to, I can't do it now, but I can change the motion at this point.
Well, we'll do this one.
It's easier to do it one at a time, but however you want.
Okay. Well, that'd be fine.
It's just pushing buttons.
That's right.
Okay.
Make J. Ross read.
He just has to
We
read.
got any discussion? We have a motion, second, any other discussion?
Oh, I know.
Let's vote.
We want to get Jay back. Jay wants to use the room as fast as we can.
The motion carries 6-0 with 1 abstention.
That's one. Okay, 19, consider resolution approving the issuance of a permit to Callum Petroleum Operating Company to drill an oil and gas well within the city limits located 250 feet from the north line and 335 feet from the east line, section 22, block 40T-1-S, TMP Railroad Company, Survey, City and County of Midland, Texas, generally located on the south side of the extension of West Mockingbird Lane, West County Road 50, approximately 1 mile north of Briarwood Avenue, and providing that said permit does not require a new road repair agreement, but shall be consolidated under an existing road repair agreement. Got a motion second, any discussion? Please vote.
The motion carries 6-0 with 1 abstention.
20, consider resolution approving the issuance of a permit to Callum Petroleum Operating Company to drill an oil and gas well within the city limits located 577 feet from the north line and 2,560 feet from the east line, section 23, block 40T-1-S, TMP Railroad Company, Survey, City and County of Midland, Texas, generally located 577 feet south of the west extension of Mockingbird Lane, West County Road 50, and 1,224 feet west of Golden Gate Drive, and providing that said permit does not require a new road repair agreement, but shall be consolidated under an existing road repair agreement. Got a motion second? Any questions, statements? Let's vote.
The motion carries 6-0 with 1 abstention.
21, consider a resolution approving the issuance of a permit to Callan Petroleum Operating Company operated to drill an oil and gas well within the city limits locating 577 feet from the north line, 2,520 feet from the east line, section 23, block 40, T-1-ST&P Railroad Company Survey, City, County, Midland, Texas, generally located 577 feet south of west extension of Mockingbird Lane, West County Road 50, and 1,184 feet west of Golden Gate Drive, providing that said permit does not require a new road repair agreement, but shall be consolidated under an existing road repair agreement. That motion second. Any questions, comments? Let's vote.
The motion carries 6-0 with 1 abstention.
Item 26. Consider a resolution authorizing the execution of a professional service agreement with HDR Engineering Incorporated for engineering service for the rehabilitation and improvements to Sprayberry Farm and Plant Farm.
I just wanted to make sure this is for the engineering of it,
That's correct.
and then it'll come back once we get, I guess it'll come back for an RFP, and then we'll find that, or what's the?
It'll come, actually, this is under the RFP that we already did
Okay.
for our on-call services.
Okay.
So when it comes back to you, it'll actually be an specs to go out for construction.
Thank you.
Very good. Okay, we have a motion. Second. Any other comments? Questions? Let's vote.
The motion carries unanimously.
Item 27.
Consider an ordinance on second reading vacating a 0.06 acre portion of alley right-of-way located in block 143, subdivision, City and County of Midland, Texas, and located on the east side of South 4th Street, approximately 150 feet north of East Pennsylvania Avenue, now adopting the appraisal by the city manager of $5,227, and ordering recordation by the city secretary.
I've got a motion and second. Anybody have questions? Discussion? Let's vote.
What?
Councilmember Ward.
Okay. That'll be fine.
I'm sorry, please forgive me. I just needed some clarification.
The motion carries unanimously.
Item 28.
An ordinance on second reading, changing the zoning use classification of the property described as Lot 1, Block 16, Haley Heights, City and County of Midland, Texas, generally located southwest of the intersection of South Rankin Highway and Collins Avenue, which is presently zoned LR3, local retail district, by permitting said property to be used in a specific use permit with term for an electronic billboard, changing the zoning use classification of the property described as a 2.86 acre tract of land out of section 7, block 39, township 2 South T&P Railroad Company survey, City and County of Midland, Texas, generally located on the south side of Interstate 20, approximately 350 feet east of Low Bush Drive, which is present zone BP, I-20 Business Park District, by permitting said property to be used under a specific use permit with term for a billboard, changing the zoning use classification of the property described as all block 17, less 1,351 square feet, original town, City and County of Midland, Texas, generally located northwest of the intersection of North Lamesa Road and East Front Street, which is present zone C3, commercial district, by permitting said property to be used under a specific use permit with term for a billboard, changing the zoning use classification of the property described as a 7.98 acre tract of land out of section 4, block 39, township 2 South, T&P Railroad Company survey, City and County of Midland, Texas, generally located on the south side of Interstate 20, approximately 1,100 feet east of South Midkiff, which is present zone LR2, local retail district, for permitting said properties to be used in a specific use permit with term for an electronic billboard, making said permit subject to certain conditions and restrictions contained herein, containing a limited clause containing a zero clause providing for a maximum penalty or fine of $2,000 in ordering publication.
I have a motion. The second. Any discussion? Let's vote.
The
The motion carries 6-1.
Item 29,
An ordinance on second reading changing the zoning use classification of property described as an 8,853 square foot portion of lot 1A, block 2, Grand Ridge Park Addition, section 6, City and County, Midland, Texas, generally located southwest of the intersection Holiday Hill Road and Lake Drive, which presents zone PD, content for a shopping center, recommending said property to be zoned a specific use permit with term for the sale of alcoholic beverages in a lounge or nightclub or for on-premise consumption, making said permit subject to certain conditions and restrictions contained here, containing political clause, containing even zero political clause, providing for a maximum penalty or fine of $2,000 and ordering publication.
we have a motion. A second, do we have any other discussion? Vote.
The motion carries unanimously.
Item 30,
An ordinance on second reading, changing the zoning classification by amending chapter 1, title 11, the city code of Midland, Texas, recommending lot 1, block 1, Greenacre, city and county of Midland, Texas, which is presently zoned AE, agricultural estate district, to be used as an LR2 local retail district, and are located on west side of North State Highway 349, approximately 400 feet north of Arapahoe Road, containing political clause containing zero clause providing for maximum penalty or fine of $2,000.
No, this is just the zone change, it's not even the billboard.
we have a motion, second.
Isn't that right?
Any discussion? All right, vote.
Oh, yeah, look, I can understand it. I don't mind being
The motion carries unanimously.
Item 31,
An ordinance on second reading establishing intersection stops at various locations within the city of Midland, authorizing and directing the traffic engineer to install appropriate signs and markings at the designated locations containing political clause, containing even zero political clause, providing for a maximum penalty or fine of $200 and ordering publication.
we have a motion and a second. Any other comments? Let's vote.
The motion carries unanimously.
Item 32,
An ordinance on second reading establishing no right-of-way signs at various locations within the city of Midland, Texas, requiring and authorizing and posting of appropriate signs at said intersection containing political clause containing zero political clause, providing for a maximum penalty or fine of $200 and ordering publication.
I have a motion. Second. Any other discussion? Let's vote.
The motion carries unanimously.
And item 33,
An ordinance on second reading vacating and abandoning a 0.45 acre utility easement located in section 33, block 40, township 1, South TNP Railroad Company, serving Midland County, Texas, generally located on the north side of State Highway 191, approximately 1 mile east of County Road 1275, adopting the appraisal by the city manager of $10,350, waiving the fee for the cost of the utility easement and ordering recordation by the city secretary.
we have a motion. Second, do we have any discussion? Let's vote.
The motion carries unanimously.
Going into public hearings, item 34,
Hold a public hearing and consider an ordinance changing the zoning classification by amending chapter 1, title 11, the city code of Midland, Texas, recommending lot 6C, block 3, West Ridge Park Addition, section 16, city and county of Midland, Texas, which is for the zone PD Plaza District for a shopping center to be used as an LR3 local retail district, generally located southeast of the intersection of Andrews Highway and Catalina Drive, containing cumulative clause, containing even zero political clause, providing for a maximum penalty or fine of $2,000 in ordering publication.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. As you may notice from the map, this property is the location of the BMW dealership. Much like the Mercedes, it's across the road from them. They're coming back, making improvements to their site. And want to go ahead and pursue the LR3 that would allow them to do so. It doesn't, at first glance, it might look like it's spot zoning. However, if you look at all the underlying uses that are around it and joining the property down across the street from this is not the case. This request has been, we've made all public notices necessary. We received no other suggestions on the request, and we would recommend approval.
question for Chuck? Nope. Okay. This is a public hearing. If you're wishing to speak on this matter, please come forward, state your name and address, please. Morning, Robert.
Good morning. Mayor, Council, Robert Wendell, 6 Grass 3000. Here on behalf of the applicant. I don't really have anything to add to staff report unless you have some questions.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak? We'll close the public hearing.
Councilman Lacy, your district, you good? Oh, I'm good. I've worked with Mr. Reynolds, exactly what we did across the street with the other property owner, so it's consistent with what's going on in that area.
That's what I thought, I just wanted to double check with you.
Okay, we have a motion second. If there's no further discussion, let's vote.
The motion carries unanimously.
Item 35, hold a public hearing and consider a resolution authorizing the temporary use of land for a tent sale on lots 1A, 7, and 8, Block 17, Skyline Terrace Edition, Unit 7, Seating County, Midland, Texas, generally located on the south side of West Loop 250 North, approximately 220 feet west of North Mid-Pip Road, and making said permit subject to certain special conditions and restrictions contained here.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, you may recall this request was originally presented to you on February 9th for approval. There was a change in their site plan, and so where it's going to be located has changed a little bit, and so we needed to bring that back to the city council for approval.
I've got a question, Chuck. Over Valentine's Day, this property owner allowed an illegal operation to happen for selling them all the stuff they did out there. Why did they come for? It was all over town, but specifically where this tent sale's going to go. And I kind of appreciate the applicant coming through and going through the process, but all over town, especially in this location, they were allowing someone to sell Valentine's stuff without a permit.
They should have, the Valentine's sales we saw, should have had some sort of mobile vendor permit. I went out there checking it. That would be the normal.
It was all over town, I can promise you.
All over town.
All over. And I don't know if we need to put a code officer, enforcement officer on overtime during that start take, because we've got all these ordinances in place, but yet when it comes to the weekend, we don't enforce them.
Right.
And so, I don't know if I'd like to see if there's an applicant from the mall, or the representative from the mall here, because I'd like to ask them, because it's getting a little ridiculous.
I concur.
Chuck, you mentioned a temporary permit. What'd you call it a second ago?
A mobile vendor type permit.
And
those not just for food. I mean, they're for other mobile.
Okay.
But we don't see those, correct? Those go through. Okay. Well,
Well,
either way, then we didn't see it. I got
no,
you. Well, these did not. I assure you, they did not have a mobile vendors permit.
Did you just say that mobile food vendors come before council?
No, sir.
Okay.
They all come in to get permits from the city.
Oh, okay.
That's, okay.
Yeah.
I'll wait for the public hearing.
Okay. All right, thank you, Jeff. Public hearing is open. Please state your name and address.
Troy Valley, I'm a representative of Simon Property Group out in Middle
I'm sorry, can you slow down and say that again?
I'm sorry. Troy Valley, I'm a representative of Simon Property Group at Middle Park Mall. I'm here on the request of Kevin Church, the mall manager there. We did have a mobile vendor permit for that on Valentine's Day. We did check with the city to make sure that that was there. So this is a rug sale that's been here multiple years, so we'd like to move forward.
Oh, that's fine. I just wanted to double check, because, and I'm glad that y'all went today. I can promise you not all around town did. I mean, it was on any vacant lot you could get one. They had those things. And
did see it, so we double checked with the city before we move forward with that.
And I know it's really predominantly dominated in the Councilman Love's district.
Yes.
Hey, maybe they'll give us some badges and we can go right ticket.
$800.
You'd like that, wouldn't you?
I would.
Yeah, I know you would.
800 flowers, that's what I use.
Thank you, Council.
Thank you for being here. Public hearing is still open. Anyone else wishing to speak?
They won't go.
Okay, we'll close the public hearing.
Well, I didn't see you out there on Saturday. You noticed like that.
No.
We have a motion
White bar.
and a second. Do we have any other discussion? Okay, let's vote.
The motion carries 5-2.
Okay, item 36. Consider a resolution authorizing the schematic design option for the Midland Center building and authorizing city manager to direct Legendary Welland Architects to proceed with the design development, site utility, and demolition specification for selected option.
Yep, Mayor? I'm not sure exactly how we'll go about doing this, but before we declare an option, I'd like to at least have some discussion on it.
Sure.
Can I go ahead and declare an option in the right discussion? Sure.
That's
okay.
what I'm trying to,
Okay.
I mean, I can declare an option, but it may not be the option that you would like.
Then
Or
it
you
can-
could declare an option, but not one that I'd like. That's why I was wanting to declare that we
I think,
have
But
some
then you
sort
can
of.
vote it down. Robert Rules of Order dictates that we.
Well, then
have a
I'd like to
motion.
make a motion, please, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
I'd like to move that we delay this vote until January, February, and March hotel motel receipts are received. Our January numbers in 2016 versus our January number in 2015 are down 70%. A $1.5 million receipt in 2015. The same month in 2016, $400,000. To make this vote right now and set this process in motion would be irresponsible. So I would like to move to delay this vote until our April meeting when we have our January, February, and March final hotel motel receipts in.
well, I think, in my opinion, I would say, not,
Let's wait for a
You
second.
made a motion, let it die,
Wait for a second.
I understand.
and then we can move on.
Okay, can we discuss it now?
You can discuss
We
that.
should.
I need a motion.
Oh, he seconded, so.
About delaying it, but
Wait, there's a second.
not about the options.
Wait, Amy doesn't have the language
Discuss
in.
some of the options.
Well, that had to be in another
that we're
form
delaying.
hold on,
of a motion.
Amy?
Sorry, I didn't update it after I put that in there. Let me,
Yeah, so we didn't know what we've got to vote on here. While they're doing that, so John,
It's improper to discuss something before a motion, isn't that correct? Open Meetings Act, we have to make a motion, second it, and then discuss it.
Yes.
And then Amy, I think Amy's getting the motion, what you've got before you. I know that we've had a lot of stakeholders that have looked at this, but I would prefer this
Jeff?
coming as a,
can you get your second?
I would prefer this coming as a public hearing, that we can have open discussion on the options that are available to us. There's a lot of people in the public that don't know what we're looking at, and so I was hoping that we could show some of the diagrams that we have. And Spencer, or Councilman Robinette, has a really good argument. If our hotel motel receipts are going way down and we can't afford the payments on this and still service those members that have come to count on hotel motel as part of their revenue stream, that would be a travesty. So, but
Yeah,
I do want to. I want to discuss option one at some point.
Well, what's it? Currently, right now, the only thing you can discuss is the motion.
I just did.
Okay, I was just telling you.
Right, yeah.
So anything else you want to add on your discussion? Your
Yeah,
comments?
I'd just like to say that we've talked about this project for quite some time. I'm in full support of doing something with the Midland Center. I think right now it would be a little premature, especially given that Hotel Santa Rita has seen some delays. We've continually talked about opening those projects at the same time. There's really no rush. If we can have another, 60 days, we'll have a better idea of where February is. We'll have a better idea where March is. Those receipt figures we'll have in April. Again, doing this now, I know we're not approving a budget. I know we're not approving a final plan. I know we're not approving a dollar amount. But I do know that it's also hard to stop something once you set it into motion, and approving an option 2 or 2A at this point, when I'm not comfortable with where our hotel motel receipts are, I don't think would be responsible. I just like to see those receipts come in over the next 60 or 90 days to give a little better evaluation. Again, January's down 73% over January of 2015.
And we let's talk about hotel and just the room rates, room availabilities, and typically I don't think you see a whole lot of use of rental of the rooms during the holiday season. Ours is typically during the spring and summer when there's tournaments going on, and we'll see an increase there.
We'll see an increase we'll see an increase over 2015 numbers this spring
We'll
and
see an
summer.
increase, but we're going to see an increase based on what your statement.
Right, but the comparable statement, the comparable revenue periods are still the same. That Christmas demand last year and January demand last year would be the same as this year.
Today versus last year, correct? Or the year before, because it wouldn't be accurate.
No, we can.
Exactly.
That's what I'm doing.
You can, but they're not.
That's what I'm doing.
Why?
Well, yes.
Well, I mean, we were in an oil boom. We were doing very well at 100.
Right, that's why I'd like,
his point.
yeah.
I know, I'm saying, let's go back to 2011.
Yeah,
How we use 2011s.
I've got that,
2010s.
I've got that number. 2011, that's a, January in 2011 was $628,000. January of 16 was $400,000. This is even under 2011 January receipts.
So in our hotel motel fund, where are we at today?
About 15,
15
probably
million.
17 million.
And while you're coming up, I'm assuming that city staff has taken into consideration that we have declining hotel motel taxes when they figured out, as they figure out this financial package. In other words, you're gonna take all of that into consideration.
Am I gonna take everything into consideration to figure the cost of the Midland Center and if we can
If we can afford it.
afford it? Yes.
Okay. I'm
And-
sorry,
and-
go ahead.
But
But I also recognize that December and January's receipts were significantly lower than they were for the previous years. Staff doesn't know why at this point. Now, February's come up, I just got new figures yesterday, updating the February figures, we're at 355,000 now. From the figures that I gave you last week, I think, which puts us in the third position in the past history. But January has been our biggest month. I don't know, I didn't print graphs for everybody, but just looking graphically, January has always been our big month. But it was down significantly. I don't know if that's a permanent fall.
It was down $1.1 million year over year.
So
But you have to realize that we also got 7.8 or almost $8 million in.
Right.
We've lowered our estimate to 6.3.
Right.
So we basically lowered the revenue that we forecasted coming in this year down $1.5 million.
Right.
Do we
So
know
we've taken
if,
some of that into consideration.
Brad, do we know if Midland Center had bookings January last year versus this year when we didn't have any bookings that would have filled up the hotel?
probably not to make a complete difference, but it would have.
Not a chance. There's not a chance. I mean, how much is a hotel motel tax?
I'm just asking questions.
January was at 74,000, and last year was at 200,000. But even going back, you have to go back to 2011 to get lower. So, I acknowledge December. and
First quarter
January.
was down versus,
Well, you have to remember the taxes are quarterly taxes, and they're not have to be paid until 30 days after the end of the quarter. So we do get some bleed through. So some of the, and we just post the receipts when we get the check.
Yeah, they're
So
not
some
post
of it
dated.
bleeds through to some of January's, or the first quarter actually shows up a little bit in February. We don't have a clear definition of, okay, this is the amount for the first quarter.
But to be clear, the January 2015 receipt and the January 2016 receipt, there are no further adjustments to either of those periods. That's the final Jan to Jan. So unless there's something significant we're not seeing.
And of course, I think what Councilman Robinette was just saying is, before we step out, should we not, I mean, even Pam said, we don't know why that happened. The question is it going to be a trend, or is it going to be an outlier?
Right.
And you can't know that until you get the data points after it.
But that's true for everything else. We can't know.
That's true.
Well, right, we're also in the
You're-
worst.
You're also looking at using, $40 million of taxpayer money, and I think it's responsible to at least look. And I
Yeah.
understand, I do understand what y'all are wanting. You're in a hurry to get this started, and I think Councilman Robinette understands the rush involved.
Right.
well, let's really specific, 40 million, but of the 40 million, we're gonna pay, what out of the hotel motel fund? 14 million?
Yeah, we've got a fund, our projected fund balance, which would be September 30th of right at 17 million, a little over 17 million. What staff's going to propose is to use either 13 or 14 million cash.
So
and
we'll
then
put
use
14
fund
million cash,
balance.
so let's take the 14 million
Right.
out of 40 million.
That it amounts to about $2 million a year in debt service over 20 or 25 years. And Pam, while I do respect your number and your prediction, I think our receipts will be closer in the $4 million range. Again, January is 70% down. The $4 million range puts us in a 50% decline year over year. And if you're in the industry day to day, you know that the rig count is down today in the Permian 70% over our high 2 years ago. Oil prices are down. There are major layoffs on the way and that have come up in January and February. A lot of people that are close to me have been affected. Mr. Love, I do appreciate your point. You could always delay and wait further, but I do think that right now is a pretty pivotal time in our industry, and a lot of guys have waited until the first quarter in 2016 to make layoffs, and they're coming in a big way. And I'm just asking for another 60 days to take a look at this. Hotel Santa Rita is delayed. I just don't think it's smart right now to set this in motion when we don't know where our receipts are going to be.
You know, what was our time frame to get the schematic design option? Was it June before we'd have that even ready in numbers?
I believe that's correct, yes, sir.
Okay, well, that's the reason I don't want to delay it. Because, you know what, if we get the numbers, you know, for what it's going to cost to build the Midland Center, you know, it's going to take us till June to do that. Well, heck, we can just delay the whole dang thing.
Well, we've been delaying it for years. It's been delayed 2 and 3 years. I understand that.
So why not just go ahead and go through with getting the design ready?
You'll be able to hit the stop button.
Yeah, we can hit the stop button.
Well, that's very difficult to do with all the work we've put into this point and where I think the council's leaning.
I wouldn't have any
I'm just
problem
asking for
hitting the
60
stop
days.
button.
I'm just asking for 60 days.
No problem. I'm ready for the
Yeah.
question.
Okay.
They've elucidated their arguments. Let's vote.
Any more comments? So we have a motion to delay voting on this item until January through March receipts. Got a motion second. Any other discussion? Vote.
The motion fails 2 to 5. Oops. I said pass, but it failed.
Okay.
Okay. Well,
Push the wrong one.
Now,
I'd like to
thank
make
you.
a motion then that we look at option 1.
I'd second that motion.
Can we put up,
Here we go. Let's get this first. Okay, we have a motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a second.
Oh, well, I did. I'm back.
do you have that we can put on the screen?
I don't have it with me, but I bet I could run up and get it, give me some time.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, while you're doing that, I guess I'm asking you, so tell me your thoughts on option 1.
Well, I think the architects did a really superb job of giving us options. And option 1 keeps the Chamber of Commerce built. It's not only the cheapest, but it keeps the Chamber of Commerce building in place. It gives us the most options in the future. See, option 1 has the largest basement so that we have more space that's in our current footprint. Once you do any other option, you're never going to go out and increase the size of your basement. Once you do option 2, the likelihood of you ever going and putting a second floor over your ballroom is reduced significantly. But option 1 allows you at a later date to say, hey, now's the time, we're going to go ahead and take the Chamber of Commerce building, we're going to build 2 stories, build 3 stories. You can look at what your needs are at that time, and you haven't lost some space because you needed to keep the cost down for option 2, option 2A, so you have a really small basement. So I think option 1 does give us a whole lot more, it gives us a lot more flexibility in the future.
I'd like to counter your point. Mr. Rodenberry said that on all 3 options, the basement is going to be larger than what we have right now. Option 1 is larger, but I'm assuming that's because of design reasons. I don't think that a bigger basement is actually what we're trying to accomplish here. I think a brand new Midland Center that's functional, that's operational is, in my opinion, what we were trying to accomplish here. And then what you're describing to me seems like that would be the most expensive option. If we vote for one and then later we decide to expand and go up, that's more expensive in the long run than if we start with option 2 or 2A and do the exact same thing.
Well, it won't be, because it's on a different footprint. Mr. Oakberry, can you weigh in on this? I know that Mr. Love says, yeah, we'll have a larger basement than what we have now on all 3 options. But option 1 actually gives us more square footage of breakout rooms that would still be available later if we need to take out the Chamber of Commerce building and bolt on at a later date.
But it's total overall less square footage. So you're saying, well, we get a bigger basement, but we're gonna have smaller square footage. So your argument of more breakout rooms, more availability, I don't understand that.
Sorry.
I guess I didn't quite understand your question. If you did option 1 now and then came back and built the ballroom later, you would at that point have more total square footage. Not to confuse things, but there's a host of intermediate options. I mean, you could do a option 2 now with a larger basement if you wanted to.
You could.
You had to kind of pick the logical places in there to cut it off.
I understand that. And so, but all I'm saying,
You're just looking for
all I'm
low
saying
cost?
is, it's not just a lower cost. It does allow more flexibility to add on later.
Do you
Can we go up higher? On option 2, do we have the?
Yeah,
Okay,
we could design it that way.
Do you agree with what Councilman just said, that if we pick option 1, that it gives us the more advantages for expansion?
Versus, well, option 2,
You're under oath now.
you're going ahead and, you're gonna go ahead and do that expansion in option 2, so it's already been accomplished. That's like, I guess in a way, yeah, option 1 leaves you with more things you can do later. Option 2,
You've already done them.
you've done.
So let's just say we go option 1. You're talking $39 million today to do option 1, $42 million to do option 2, what we're talking about. If we waited 10 years or 7 years to improve on option 1, what do you think inflation is going to take that cost to?
Oh, that's a loaded question. I don't know if I'd answer that. Well, the question.
It is a loaded question. It will be higher significantly.
But
So why wouldn't we take advantage of our AAA ratings and lowest interest rates? I mean,
I'll answer because some people might not think that the extra ballroom is necessary. I think that's the question. It's not a question as to whether it's going to be more expensive now or later. It's going to be more expensive later, but the question is, do you find the money justified for the ballroom now versus maybe having to spend more on it later?
Sure. Okay, very great. So option 2, let's just say we decide on it and we look at, there was the talk of public hearing. Once we get the option 2 chosen or option whatever, and we scrub it and get the real numbers, don't we take it to the public to look at it? We take it to the public.
You're not going to take it to the public.
Why wouldn't we? Why can't we?
You going to let me finish my sentence, or?
Go ahead.
You're not going to take it. You're not planning on taking it to the public for a vote. You're just doing it to take it to the public for a presentation. Am I correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Thank you for letting me finish my sentence.
Wow. Well, nothing's going to be, do you want a referendum on every decision that we make?
No, I didn't ask that. I thought it would be appropriate to have a public hearing just so that we could talk about these options. That's all I said.
Wonderful.
Now, y'all don't want to do it? Fine. But that's what I thought would be appropriate.
You're not going to take your ball and go home, are you?
Okay, that's a comment.
Can I make a comment just about the public hearing, just to address that? One of the things in this design phase that we did is we had a lot of stakeholder meetings, current and past clients of the Midland Center. I think we had 3 with stakeholders, we had a couple with caterers. So we were able to get a lot of feedback. It wasn't public-wide, but the people that used the facility the most, that had the most
And I'm sure their input included spending more money for additional facilities. I don't know if that's a good basis for your public input.
And I appreciate you doing that. And I would like the stakeholders to come be a part of that public hearing. But, you know, I didn't have a chance to talk with any of the stakeholders on what part's the most important.
I agree with you, that's the public
right
input.
now.
I agree with you.
And we are, even on option one, we are increasing breakout rooms. We are increasing the size of the exhibit hall by over 50% of what it is right now. And with the partitions, that there's going to be a lot of uses in option one. All I'm saying is you can delay the cost of removing the Chamber of Commerce building. Will it cost more in the future? Yes, I agree with that. But it will delay the cost. When I built the house to begin with, I put in a bunch of cheap stuff until I could afford later, and then my wife made me take out all these countertops, and we had to put granite, you know? But we waited 15 years before we did it. So we've updated our house over and over and done. Did it cost more to do that? Of course it did. But I also had a new kitchen after 15 years and new carpet and things of that nature. It doesn't all have to be done at one time, and I thought it was worth the discussion.
I appreciate that, Mr. Sparks. I don't think I have any other comments. It sounds like we're ready for a vote, I think. Anybody else?
Anybody else comments? All right, thank you. So we have a motion and second. Let's vote.
The motion fails 2-5.
Okay.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I'd like to make the motion that we move and direct the staff to begin the schematic design for option 2.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion second. Discussion.
I'll jump in here. Through statistical proven records, Midland has never not grown, no matter whether we're in a slump, no matter whether we're at a peak. We've always grown. I think there's one year that maybe one year would stay the same. I just was in a meeting with Motor where we're talking about transportation needs, and what I heard over and over again was that our city was going to grow. It was going to grow. We've had nonprofits tell us that they need a larger center. I mean, that's my main group that's come to me with the wish list. And then I want to reinforce the fact that whatever we construct, it's never going to be cheaper than it's going to be today. It will never be cheaper than today.
It might not even be affordable today, depending on how our receipts trend. And our last data point showed a $1.1 million decline in January over January receipts. I don't think this is a sound vote.
Well, if it's not affordable, then we won't be voting for it. It's pretty much that simple.
Any other discussion?
If it's not affordable, we'll take $10 million out of unappropriated fund balance, put granite and everything else in there, put new paint carpet in it, and keep it what it is. Right now, we're doing the asbestos abatement down in the basement that is required by federal and state regulations, and we move forward at that point. So either, those will be decisions we can make.
Well, we could have made the option more.
Okay, we have a motion. Second, let's vote.
The motion carries 5-2.
Okay, very good. Item 37.
An ordinance establishing or amending certain fees and charges of the City of Midland Community Service Department, Parks and Recreation Commission, and repealing prior ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict with such fees and charges set forth herein.
Morning.
We've recently completed construction of a new gazebo at Hill Park, and we anticipate a lot of rentals there. A lot of people have their meetings there about the pond, and I'm excited that we bought our gazebo, but we need some fees for that. So we took this opportunity to look at a few other things at the same time. We need to reset the fee for those gazebos, and also we acquired what's called bubble soccer, these huge inflatable balls that people get in and crash into each other and play soccer. We have already had people wanting to use them at the MLK Community Center, and we're going to do the rates for those. So that's what this is about. Rates for something.
Can you clear, is there any rate changes at Washington Pool Park with respect to that?
Not for this. We have over time changed those rates along with Douglas Walker, Walker Field, a little bit, but this doesn't affect Washington at all.
No problem. I just didn't want to raise the rates when we were in the process of looking at rehabbing it. I didn't think that would be appropriate, so no problem.
Very good, thank you, Lord. I have a motion. In a second. Any other discussion? Vote, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
The motion carries unanimously.
Item 38, consider a resolution of the City Council of the City of Midland, Texas, supporting the proposed Merritt Monument housing development. The applicant is DDC Merritt Monument Ltd. The proposed development is located at Leisure Drive and Rocky Lane, providing an effective date and authorizing and directing the City Secretary to certify the resolution of the Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs.
Members of the council, this request is related to the next two requests. This is a program whereby they're seeking tax abatement credits for construction of affordable housing. This first one, Merritt Monument, I'm sure you're familiar with. We've had them in previous years as they attempted to try and receive those tax credits. They're proposing 120 total units at the site, and in support of their application, they're requesting a resolution. We have to answer any questions.
Question, Jeff?
39 is also Merritt.
It's a different resolution. It deals more with the previous adoption of our Midland Airport Corridor revitalization plan, which is they fit into that corridor.
Okay. So the first two are Merritt.
Yes, sir.
On the same project.
They're all, yes, sir, and they're all related to the THCA.
38 and 39 are the same project, is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'd like to bring Mr. Merritt up, if you don't mind.
Yes. Okay, thank you.
Dennison, I'm sorry. Gosh, call me out in better than that.
He knew who you were talking about.
Yeah.
It's my daughter.
Hi, my name's Colby Dennis, and thank y'all, and I appreciate the last 2 years of y'all supporting us, and we're super excited about the tax credits we were awarded last year for Merit Leisure, senior affordable mixed income, and y'all support helped us tremendously in that. This year, we're right next door trying to do affordable housing for families and workforce housing. Also, we initially thought we'd do 120 units to the site, given y'all's code and impervious cover and density and height and all that. We can only do 140 units, but we're anticipating all of them being affordable. And it sounds like, given some of the changes in your economy, I think this housing would be greatly needed in Midland. And hopefully y'all see and remember some of the product I've presented to y'all in the past, and that we do really high quality housing product that I think the city would be very proud of.
Well, Mr. Dennison, I want to commend you on your continued efforts to bring affordable housing to the city of Midland. Your company has truly shown us that you have the winning formula to get these points awarded and to get awarded at the state level. Kind of talk about, you've done some participation with the city of Midland, especially since it's my district on Bill Parkway, where you're making a substantial financial investment in the road and infrastructure that'll be part of this project. And you're kind of making a corridor for affordable housing. You come here and all you do is just keep adding units of affordable housing to our city, which is greatly needed. And so this is let's talk about some of what you've done in that area, along with helping out with the infrastructure.
Well, we haven't broken ground yet, but last year was an award of tax credits of a little under $8 million that will bring the housing in and participate with the city on the construction of Beal Parkway. That is a corridor of new construction that is near the park, the Beal Park. And what's always important in affordable housing is being near services, retail, and a lot of the new development that's in the area, restaurants, the cinema on the corner.
Okay. You've We put together, and this will be on the next vote, a revitalization plan that is a proven winner and something that has been approved at state level. Kind of, I guess we'll wait till we get to that item, but I really appreciate what you're doing, especially bringing it to the city, not just District 4, but to the city of Midland. You bring a top-notch product that gives individuals opportunity to live in a wonderful environment through what you bring through, and I just could not commend you enough. I know this is our third year around. We fell short the first year, but we won, and I wholeheartedly support this project to add more units to the market. So you said $8 million for the first project. What will the second, so that's property valuation added to the city of Midland?
Yeah, and this project is actually, the allocation to the Midland region has actually gone up this year, so it'll be almost $9 million of tax credits. The project, it's on, last year's project will be nearly $20 million, and this project will be around $14 or $15 million.
Of new property valuation added to our city. So thank you so much, Mr. Dennison, for everything you're doing. I really appreciate it.
The one thing that I'd like to say to y'all this year, we're in competition with another applicant that's coming up that's proposing rehabilitation. I believe that our two applications, given my over a decade of experience in the tax credit program, I believe we will, in the end, if our points and the revitalization and everything goes through, I think we'll be tied. In the event that we are tied, the tiebreaker would go to the rehabilitation of units. And so I think that it's important, many cities that I speak to, the cities always grapple with whether the city ought to decide what affordable housing gets selected in their city, or do they want to defer to the state. If Midland supports both of us, it's essentially Midland will decide that you all want rehabilitation of units, because I believe we'll tie, and the tie will go to them. So in this instance, if you all prefer new construction over rehabilitation, then you would have to make that decision today.
And Mr. Dennison, I support adding more units to the market, and that's what your project does.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to try to do something. Thank you, Mr. Dennison. I'd like to try to do something.
Would you give her your address, please? Thank you. Give it to Amy.
I have his card.
Okay. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I'd like to try to do something unusual because 38 and 39 are connected to 40.
Okay.
And because Mr. Dennison brought up the issue, and let me digress by saying I also am in favor of adding more units because we need more units. But since you brought up the other applicant, is it appropriate for to bring up the other applicant to talk about this item in context of what they're trying to do?
Mayor, that's up to the chair, but I think the council might want as much information as possible, so it makes sense to me.
And the reason why is because we will vote on 38 and 39 before we get to 40. Yeah. And so I would at least like to hear from them before we vote 38. Again, my position is it's tough. Both of the applicants came to me. I'm an advocate of affordable housing, but if I had to make a choice between rehab and adding units, that's not that's an easy choice for me.
Okay. I hear you. So we can just bring him up on this item.
Yeah, if you want to hear him, on his input.
Okay.
Or whatever questions the council might have.
Sure.
I got some.
Okay, that's appropriate. I'm good with that.
And again, Mr. Dennison and Tommy, I'm not trying to,
Thank you for being here. If you'll state your name and address, and I think we have some questions for you.
My name is Amay Amgar. I'm from Houston, actually. But honorable mayor and council members.
Do you mind if we had your address, please?
Oh, the address, sorry. It's
Thank you.
13122 Sunrise Creek, Sugar Land, Texas. So thank you for the opportunity to be here today. I'm the regional VP for the Southwest for the Michaels organization. Michaels is actually the largest privately held affordable housing company in the country, with almost 400 properties from the Virgin Islands to Hawaii. And the company is also very active in student, military, and workforce housing. And we want to become a partner with the city in addressing housing issues. The property which the company owns at 4201 North Garfield, Chaparral Apartments, was purchased over 20 years ago as part of a large portfolio. And I immediately recognized after joining the company late last year that it was in desperate need of attention. As a Section 8 property with very low rents, it has suffered from a lack of resources necessary to update it. However, this makes it a prime candidate for the housing tax credit program. The perfect opportunity to leverage federal resources to rehab the property and bring investment to Midland at no cost to the city. When we submitted the tax credit pre-application on January 8th, the proposal was not only competitive, as expected, but was the highest scoring app in the region. The reasons for this are because of the strong merits, including its location in a higher income area, its proximity to excellent amenities, including one of the best elementary schools in the area, Emerson Elementary. As a matter of fact, our proposal is the only one in Midland considered by the state to be a high opportunity area. The property itself is desperately in need of rehab and could use many weatherization and interior upgrades, not to mention some significant aesthetic and amenities improvements. The primary scope items that the tax credits would enable are things such as replacement of all windows and doors, new kitchens and baths with all new cabinets and Energy Star appliances, new stairwells and balconies, perimeter fencing with controlled gate access, improvements to lighting, security systems, and landscaping, and significant exterior upgrades such as new siding and paint. In addition, we would be building a brand new community center on site with amenities including an exercise room, a business center for the tenants, and supportive services facilities. The increased supportive services programs would actually include things such as free classes like GED prep classes, character building programs for teens, financial planning classes, health and nutritional classes, and other great actions. So in summary, the allocation of tax credits would facilitate a dramatically improved community for the residents and a sizable investment in the city of Midland. With all due respect to Councilmember Love and others who have contemplated that the city should only support new construction right now, I would suggest that the city ought to support all housing projects equally, because without that support, we would most likely not receive an allocation despite having the highest score at pre-app, and we would more than likely drop below the San Angelo application. So there's a very real risk that the San Angelo proposal could come away with an allocation, as they were in second place going in. And Midland could completely miss out on an opportunity this year. In addition to the city resolution of support, there are 25 other criteria that the state evaluates in their decision. With the city's support of all proposals equally, which is what most cities who desire affordable housing do, we would be able to compete on a level ground, and the city would be giving itself the highest probability of getting an allocation and an investment in the community. But regardless of the city's decision today, we will respect the outcome and still submit our application. Even though it will likely knock us in the third place, we sincerely feel it's the right course of action for the property, the city, and especially the residents who are so excited for this to happen. We've received significant support from community stakeholders, including State Rep Tom Craddock. MAHA, we just learned this morning, just voted to offer us a letter of support. And Tom Miller, the Executive Director of Family Promise Midland, and we are speaking with many others who have expressed enthusiasm for the proposal. We hope the city will follow their lead and promote all housing opportunities in Midland. So thank you very much for your consideration today.
Mr. Mayor, I've got some questions. First off, the other groups also got a letter of support from Representative Craddock too, so you don't make it sound like you're.
No, sir, I didn't, yeah.
I got a couple. Are you in a revitalization zone that fits the definition by the TDHCA?
No, sir, we are in a high opportunity area, so we did not opt to apply for a revitalization zone.
Okay.
We're in a high opportunity area.
All right, let's see here. And which state is the development entity located in?
The development entity is located in Texas. I'm located in Houston. The owner of the property is the development entity. Will be the developer and the owner will be Texas entities. The parent company, Michael's organization, is based out of New Jersey. But we own almost 400 properties from the Virgin Islands of Hawaii, as I mentioned. And so we create entities in the locations where we own properties.
Where would the developer fees go to?
The developer fees would go to the development entity, which would be Michael's organization.
Okay.
But we would be hiring all local subcontractors, of course, for the construction. The majority of the investment, $14, $15 million, would be staying.
Since you stated you're not in a revitalization zone, why did you ask the city to take out the language stating that the other applicant wasn't our favorite tax credit application in the current round of revitalization?
I'm sorry, sir, to take out what language?
Take out the language stating the other applicant wasn't our favorite tax credit application in the current round in a revitalization zone.
I was asked if we needed the language in the resolution for a revitalization zone, and I told Mr. Garnett that no, that's not necessary because we are not in a revitalization zone. I never spoke to the other applicant at all. Well, I never spoke to the merits of the other application at all, and didn't ask for removal of anything other than our own resolutions language about.
Well, I respectfully disagree on that, but I'll open the floor.
I promise I will not.
I have just one question.
I got you. Yes, sir.
Are you at full occupancy?
We are very close to full occupancy. I think we have 2, maybe 3 units that are empty.
With leases signed.
Thank you.
This is Joe Weatherly. He's my manager. I think he may want to say a few words.
Yeah, in regard to the fees and the other things generated by the property, and of course, the parent company being from out of town. The biggest thing for me on all of these deals, we do them all across the country every day of the week. We are an industry leader in development, construction, and management of affordable housing. The most important thing here is the tenants, the residents that live here. And these are people, a lot of them have lived here for over 20 years, which is how long we've owned the property, and they're ready for this. They're very excited about this, and we came out and first started walking units and looking to see what we could put together for the site. People got very excited very quickly, and at the end of the day, that's what this is for. This is for the people that live here, residents of the city that have been here for a very long time, that have been committed to the property, committed to us, and are committed to community members.
Are these funds from TDHCA the only funds that you have available to you to do rehab and rehabilitation, considering that it hadn't been done in 20 years?
On this scale, yes.
So you don't have any funds personally or other grants or anything like that to do this rehab? There's no other money available to do this rehab?
The only other way we could do this would be as a non-competitive tax credit project, and it would yield such an insignificant rehab. And we're looking at a magnitude of $40,000 to $50,000 a unit now. And if we did a 4% project, we'd be at $7,000 a unit. It'd be a remarkably different program.
How many units? It's 124 units.
Thank you.
Where is your nonprofit located? These projects are required to have a nonprofit associated, or where is it located?
These projects are not required to have a nonprofit associated.
Yes, they are. We've done this in the past. I mean, because the last applicant had one the first year in Big Spring. We offered concerns, and now they've moved that nonprofit located here in Midland, Texas.
No, sir. We are required to have a supportive services provider, which is generally a nonprofit. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're talking to supportive services here in Midland, such as Family Promise of Midland, to assist us in.
But you don't have an agreement or anything in place at this time?
We have a proposal for them, and then we're in discussion with our management. Yes, sir.
So the points, Midland and San Angelo, what's the difference? Do you know? Do you have that ranking?
Yes, sir. So at pre-application, we scored 116 points. We were the highest score. San Angelo was 111 points. And then the other application in Midland was 110 points.
110. Okay. Any questions?
Well, Mr. Denson walked up because he's going to talk about the points. And the points to me, I've been in housing for a long time, and you really have to understand how this stuff works in order to be able to ascertain who has the most points. And if both of them go to, if we approve both of them and they both go before the state, I think one applicant is going to withdraw. The other one can then proceed against San Angelo. And my thing is that, again, I'll state my position clearly. We have an opportunity to add units. My God, we need them drastically. And I'm willing to chance it even if San Angelo beats us out. Because we desperately need those units.
I'll hear from Mr. Dennis.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I don't want to bore you all with the details of the tax credit program, but pre-application excludes a lot of scoring points. As he mentioned, there are about 25 categories of scoring. Many of those are not included in pre-app, including the points y'all would be awarded from your resolution to support, from Representative Democratic support, and also revitalization. So our second resolution we're before you is a 6-point item for us. In revitalization, we were awarded those points last year by the state, so I see no reason why we wouldn't be awarded those again. That's why because I've been in this for 10 years, I just know that in the end, so long as I do everything I'm supposed to do and they do everything they're supposed to do, we should be tied.
Mr.
Ahead of
Dennison,
San Angelo.
who did we beat last year?
I believe we beat San Angelo last year.
I'm ready to vote.
Yep. A lot of questions, a lot of good discussion. This is interesting. It gets
Thank you,
interesting every
guys.
time this tax credit comes before us. The school's introduced and then the nonprofit, so
It's the February sweepstakes.
Just one more comment. I have expressed to Mr. May and his group that, I'm glad that they're here. I'm glad that they saw and we took the initiative to try to straighten out Chaparral Apartments, and I'm assuming that they intend on being a long-term player here in Midland as far as affordable housing is concerned. I just hope that you guys, including Mr. Dennison, your group, you understand the position that we're in.
I would just add to what Mr. Dennison was saying. Like I mentioned earlier, without the resolution of support for one of us, it's essentially going to knock that person out of the running. However, if we both get resolutions of support, I disagree that we will essentially be tied. There are many items for scoring that they're going to get that we're not going to get. There are many items for scoring that we're going to get that they're not going to get. So there's no way to really know. I say let us compete on the other merits that are available to us and put forth the strongest application we can.
And just, I'm sorry, just to counter that, Mr. Dennison, would you come back there? Because you had indicated that how you see it, if both were approved, that you were going to take certain actions.
Yeah, I'm making the assumption that we're both experts in the field of tax credits and affordable housing, and so when I look at the scoring items, I'm making the assumptions that they're as good as we are, and they're going to score the points we'll score, and so I'm making the assumption that I'm dealing with a professional over here. So, my expert opinion is that I'll be shocked if we're not tied, and I don't see any possibility of them getting ahead of me. That's just my professional opinion based on my experience in the program.
Mr. Dennison, I guess 3 years ago or 2 years ago, I don't know, every February, we lost to Odessa by how many points?
By 1 point. And we got every single possible point I could get that year for the application.
But then last year, we beat San Angelo, correct?
Yeah, we beat San Angelo by 11 points last year.
So are you making an argument we ought to approve both of them?
No, I'm not.
Because then both of them have the same option.
I'm not. I'm voting to support adding more units to the market.
No,
I'd agree with
Well, I appreciate the council asking these great questions and really understanding what's in front of us, so I think we understand now. So we have a motion and a second on item 38.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much. Let's vote.
The motion carries unanimously.
Item 39 is consider a resolution of the City Council of the City of Midland, Texas, recognizing prior adoption of the Midland Airport Corridor Community Revitalization Plan, supporting the proposed Merit Monument Housing Development, identifying the proposed Merit Monument Housing Development as the development in 2016 tax credit application pool that contributes most significantly to the concerted revitalization efforts of the City of Midland, Texas. The applicant is DDC Merit Monuments Ltd. The proposed development is located at Leisure Drive in Rock Lane, providing an effective date and authorizing and directing the City Secretary to certify the resolution of the Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs.
Mr. Mayor, I just would like to state that this revitalization plan was approved by this council last year. It was approved in the state of Texas. It's an acceptable revitalization plan, so I don't see any reason why it would not be considered the same way in this application process. So I wholeheartedly support it.
Any other discussion? Comments? Let's vote.
The motion carries unanimously.
Item 40, consider a resolution of the City Council of the City of Midland, Texas, appointing the proposed Chaparral Apartments. The applicant is Midland Chaparral Associates LP, an entity of the Michaels organization. The proposed development is located at 4201 North Garfield Street, providing an effective date and authorizing and directing the City Secretary to certify the resolution to the Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs.
Mr. Mayor, this is a different item, and I would like to hear staff report on 40.
We have a motion and a second. Councilman is asking staff any update on this?
I'm not sure what I can update. As far as stated, they're looking for a tax credit to rehabilitate existing development. And they're just asking for the city's support our resolution. I'm not sure what questions you might have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much,
I
Judge.
just wondered if you had anything to add, that's all.
We have a motion, second, there's no further discussion, we'll vote.
Well, I just want to make a comment that it's, first off, for those of you in the audience, it's perfectly legal for us to vote yea for both of them. And I'd like to comment, this apartment unit is the gateway into my district. And I think the persons that live in District 3 would be very happy to see it rehabilitated.
As those in my district. I think rehabilitation projects have their place also. And I happened to have been around when they built those apartments, probably 30 years ago. Well, no, it's more longer than 40 years ago. 45 years.
Yeah, it's been here since I've been here.
Yeah, I watched it get built.
Let's vote. Let's see it.
So,
I'm ready.
yeah, I'm wholeheartedly think that it's okay to vote for both projects. It's okay to let both projects compete for the same dollars. So,
Okay.
The only comment I have is I distinctly remember the story that Tom of Family Promise told us about the problems we were having when the price of oil was so high, and a young woman with kids, her rent renewed from $800 to $1,600. It renewed that. She was instantly homeless.
right.
So, you know, I'm familiar with Chaparral. I used to work for the Housing Authority a long time ago. I'm very familiar with the property. It definitely needs the rehab, but my God, we need units. And this is a very difficult trust for me, but I just want to make those comments.
Well said.
Very well said.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion, second, thank you for your comments, we'll vote.
The motion fails 2-5.
Okay, we have item 41, consider a motion making appointments to various boards and commissions.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make an appointment. Would like to appoint Earl Erdman to replace Dallas Smith on the airport board and reset a new term for that position. My reasoning behind it is we've got a bunch of new young individuals on the board, which is great, but we need to have a little institutional knowledge. Mr. Erdman has a passion for the airport.
So tell us a little history. Nick, when he was on there, and
He was on there, he's gotten off, and then we've lost Mr. Smith to a tragic airplane tragedy. And so what I would like to do is,
what did we give Earl? We gave him a title.
he's an ex officio non-voting member, so I'd like to just remove that and make him a member. I've talked to the airport staff, they're completely supportive of it, and I'd like to reset the term. Because it ends at the end of September, that doesn't make any sense. So reset the term for him and give him 6 years.
Let's get move to appoint Earl
Give him another
replace
what?
Al Smith.
6 years,
reset
6
term.
years, yeah, you get two
Can I-
terms.
Can I add to that since we're going to vote to it?
Yeah.
I'd like to go ahead and nominate Perry Taylor back on the oil and gas. He's agreed to re-up. I think everybody's been happy with Mr. Taylor.
Do these need to be separate votes?
Yeah,
Well, we could do them all.
Well, whose motion is it? I just don't know whose motion it is.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
So does he need to pull his motion, Amy? And then we can get it?
Are
Sure.
we gonna do?
Yeah,
We're trying to get this other one.
Do them all at one time.
I've got one also. If
Can we
we're
get
gonna
all?
add them all, let's
Yeah.
just do it.
Okay.
Does he need just resent? Okay, there we go. All right, go ahead and finish, Councilman.
Well,
I
I
was
think,
just saying, he's been on it. I think everybody's happy with
What was his
how
name?
the oil and
Perry,
gas.
Tyler, Taylor?
Taylor.
Taylor.
Perry Dan Taylor, he's on your list.
Right. He's presently on the oil and gas. Right now, it's, you know, we've been going with him not being reappointed. I think we just ought to make it official.
Ronnie's been showing up and it's good, great.
Motion of this
Awesome.
one.
Good, good.
Let's back it. triplet motion.
Uh,
Yeah, I'd like to move to appoint Joey Hopkins to the Hotel Motel Tax Advisory Board. Joey sits on the I-20 Wildlife Preserve Board. Young Midlander would like to give some time there. So
Hey, Spencer, has he been through Midland 101 or?
no, sir, he is
I just
not.
wondered.
But he's very plugged in and very involved.
Okay.
Are we making that a requirement?
No, I just was wondering who's just asking somebody.
Sure.
Councilman,
I'd like to add, I have a few more reappointments. On Planning and Zoning Commission, I'd like to reappoint Brad Bullock and Reggie Lawrence as full members. We also,
Hey, Charlotte,
uh-huh.
does Brad Bullock want to
Yeah.
continue?
Yes.
He does?
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
he
All right.
does, but they both agreed.
They-
And Kevin Wilson was the former chairman. He had to resign from chairman because he had some heart problems. But we'd like to reappoint him we would like to appoint him as an alternate. And then on the Zoning Board of Adjustment and Airport Zoning Board of Adjustments, we checked with the director, and John Orry, Annabelle Wiseman, and Scott Young Steve has asked that they be reappointed for another term. So,
Who? Existing?
they're existing, so these are just reappointments of people that are already there that Steve said he'd like.
There's a lot of implications with that board, so in the future,
Implications?
yeah, I'll explain them to you.
Should I remove that from the?
Let's do that next week.
Okay, let's do it next meeting. So I'll just go with the planning and zoning and withdraw my other appointments.
Are there any other spots on planning and zoning that will need to be looking at here?
I think this fills them.
Yeah, you could do an alternate if you chose to continue to fill that, but, all 7 spots are filled.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a comment. I know that this board this council has in the past discussed about reducing planning and zoning, which I'm in favor for. I think it makes it more effective. I just want to point out one of the effects of that, and that is traditionally that planning and zoning has been a great start for someone who does want to run for our positions. And we have, at the last election, we did not have any opposition at all. And so I want to make sure that we're not discouraging individuals from participating in our political process, because that is a great, hate to use a cliche, but stepping stone to becoming a councilman. So that's just my comments. I'm not saying to change anything. I just wanted to throw that out there.
Right, and what we've done at this point is they are moving into our chairs, as you know, and they've just been trained on the voting machines. So there'll be 7 planning and zoning commissioners, and they'll each have a way to vote, register their votes.
Okay. All right, so we have a motion, second. Appreciate the comments. We'll vote.
The motion carries unanimously.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you.